Welcome, everybody, to the Fantasy Formula, and we're live ahead of qualifying for the Monaco Grand Prix. By this point, you all know me, but let me introduce our special guest for the live show today. He is one of the OGs of F1 Fantasy content creation, a two-time top 100 finisher in the Global League, and he's in the top 200 right now. So big decisions for his team this week. It's the one and only Tom. You might know him by his YouTube channel, Pot Pan Man. Tom, welcome aboard.
Thank you, Adam. It was always a very nice introduction. It's great to be back. Those of you who know me already, I've been away from YouTube for the best part of the year, to be honest. So yeah, really grateful for the invite, Adam, from you and your team. Happy to be here, happy to chat F1 on the way to the deadline. So yeah, thanks for having me.
We have a very big hour ahead because there's been a lot of chaos through the first free practice sessions of the weekend. Let's fire it right up and look at some of those classifications from free practice 3. So at the top here, we've been arguing all weekend about whether Kimi or Charles should be the 2X driver this week. Kimi purple in all 3 sectors to lead the timing pages. So makes you wonder if Mercedes were going a little bit more race trim in the earlier practice sessions, heavier fuel loads, and now they're really unleashing their true pace. So very, very interesting result for Mercedes in this one. Kimi also 7/10 adrift of George Russell in the other Mercedes. So big gap there. As we talk about some of our budget drivers lower on the grid, Bortoleto and Hülkenberg both in the top 10 pretty consistently throughout all the practice sessions. So that's going to be a really key consideration this weekend. And then as we slide all the way down, we have our usual cheap driver darlings in Bottas and Stroll finishing at the back of the grid, both with technical problems throughout the hour. With Valtteri, it was a brake overheating issue that afflicted Perez in FP2. With Lance Stroll, they didn't say on the broadcast what his issue was. He came in mysteriously for about 10 or 15 minutes and was well behind the other drivers, 3.2 seconds back. And it makes me wonder now if Fernando Alonso's crash in FP2 could be attributed to a similar gearbox issue that was first reported by the race on Thursday. So a lot of interesting things going on here after FP3. Tom, any big takeaways from you that I didn't cover?
No, I think you did a pretty good job there, to be honest. Something, I mean, for me personally, people that are taking my eye, Bortoleto, he's in a nice little price range of 5.4 million. He's in competition with the one and only Lance Stroll for me this week, and I can't believe I'm saying that. Lance Stroll could be a one-hit wonder. It could be another disaster with Stroll in my team. But yeah, I'm kind of torn between those two at the moment. But yeah, I think Kimi Antonelli coming in strong in FP3 was quite a nice surprise for me, actually, because someone that's not running Limitless have already used it. It means I can quite comfortably just sit with Kimi Antonelli, not have to worry about using the transfer. Got the final fix open if I need to, so I'm quite happy with that. And George being up there as well also boosts up the Mercedes, which is quite nice. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with how things have gone. To be honest, it's just that final kind of budget builder slot for me that's a bit of a headache. But yeah, still a little bit torn on my decision, but we'll get there within the next 50 odd minutes. So.
Yeah, we've got the whole hour to sort it out here. And one other thing I wanted to bring up from FP3 are the sector splits. Kimi purple in all 3, but you had talked a moment ago, Tom, about Audi. Look at Bortoleto, P8, P10, P8 here. Hülkenberg up in P4 in sector 3. So that Audi is flying. So no flukes from what we've seen so far. They should be a lock to get into Q3. The question for me is going to be, can they hold on to those positions at the start? Audi just hemorrhaging positions from the start these last few races here. So if they can fix that starting procedure, or if the rundown to turn 1 isn't as bad at this circuit as others, hopefully that'll get Bortoleto some positive points and momentum heading into Spain.
Yeah.
So chat, we are eagerly awaiting for the post FP3 sims from F1 Fantasy Tools. If they drop it while we're chatting, do let us know in the comments so that we can flip right over to it and give you our live reactions. In the meantime, let's look at what we have here, because this is the post FP2 sims. Big gap here between Leclerc and Antonelli, over double the score predicted here. I suspect this is going to get a lot closer in the coming minutes as Ryder prepares those FP3 sims. What do you think, Tom?
Yeah, it's definitely, I mean, I don't know what it's going to come out to exactly, but I think, yeah, Antonelli will definitely be a lot closer, if not pretty much on par with Leclerc, I'd imagine, when the sims drop. If the sims drops, getting a bit late. Come on, Ryder. Yeah, I'm very eager to see what it comes up with. But for me personally, like I said, I've already got Antonelli. I'll be sticking with Antonelli, and regardless of what the sims come up with. But I do anticipate, yeah, they'll be quite close together. Like you say, also the fact that Antonelli is just so good like he looks so confident, so fast, the three purple sectors and everything. I'm full of confidence going in with him as my 2 times on my team 1. I am spoiler doing Limitless on my team 2, and I think I am actually just going to try and be a bit differential and go Charles Leclerc, but on my team 2. But I do think for my team 1, I'll definitely be sticking with Antonelli. Just looks great.
It's a great shout. I mean, the question we've had all week is, do we start with Leclerc? Do we start with Kimi? I think at this point, you've got to start with Kimi. If he qualifies P4 or lower, Leclerc sticks it on pole. Absolutely use the final fix to bring in Charles at his home circuit. Driver of the day seems like it's in the bag for him. But my worst nightmare would be to bring in Leclerc now, spend the transfer, probably spend the transfer to get him out for Antonelli in Spain. And then Antonelli sticks it on pole and I have to use my final fix just to do the thing that I had all along. So no Leclerc for me to start the week.
Yeah.
Yep, chat's lighting up. So we have Gavin in the chat, who is the P2 finisher from last year and inherited P1 because the P1 team was not a team 1. So Gavin says, great to see you again, Tom. Got some F1 fantasy royalty in the chat. Good to see you, Gavin. Geslich wants me to drop my lineup. You know how this works. You got to hit that like button. Tell us how happy you are to have Tom back. Make sure he feels the love so he feels inspired to join us again later in the season. I'll probably drop my lineup in about 20.
I don't know what's happened there. I don't know if that's me or Adam that's just cut out.
I think I blinked out for a second. Do you all see me now?
Yeah, you went for a second. I think everything's all right on my side. I think my Wi-Fi is still up and running. So
that'll be some good hazing for you, Tom. I just disappear and you have to tap dance for the next 45 minutes.
Yeah, I think we're good. I think you're about. I'm not sure where we were, and what you were in the middle of saying something. I do believe when you dropped from my screen, so I'm not sure.
Oh gosh, I hope it wasn't important.
Yeah, something else on the 2 times, if you don't mind me jumping in. I just having a quick look at driver of the day, because I think a lot of people might be leaning towards Leclerc driver of the day potential for this race weekend. I'm actually looking at like the last few races, and Antonelli has been like massive chunk of percentage. The last 4 races, he's come like second, and then he won it back in China. So he is a very popular driver. So if Antonelli does just win the race, then I think it could be a big score for Antonelli. Another reason perhaps to just leave him in there as the 2 times.
You can see the post FP2 sims have Leclerc driver of the day at almost 59%. So an overwhelming favorite. I think if he's top 2, top 3, he'll get the courtesy driver of the day and 10 points there.
Just checking the sims. Any signs of life on them yet?
And the big question I'm going to have as we go into the hour here is, can Haas revive Ollie Behrman's car? Because for me, I've got to get Alex Albon out of my lineup. Let me bring it over here for you. I've got to get Alex Albon out of my lineup. I'm looking at Ollie Behrman here, and then that would make the budget work out for my team. But if they can't get that car going, it's -5 for not classifying this afternoon. Sets me up for a long weekend. But my other alternatives here, if I bring in Esteban Ocon, I have to downgrade Bortoleto to the likes of probably Bottas. That's the only guy I can afford at that price. And then I'm using all my free transfers on some suspect drivers. Or I could go with another budget driver like Lord Lance Stroll, if you watched the Final Thoughts video last night. So lots of options for me here, but I need to hear how Behrman's car is looking before I lock in this team.
Yeah, I've not seen anything as yet. So I keep an eye on Twitter for any updates on that. But we normally don't find out that sort of news until like the last 15-20 minutes or something, do we? So you might have to clench your bum cheeks for a little bit on that one, Adam.
Thank goodness it's net transfers this year. I could quote unquote lock in a team and then have a last minute gotcha moment where I can switch it around. Will wants to know, have you put any thought into the triple Ferrari and then triple Audi plus triple Ferrari, triple Audi plus Kimi? So that would be something where you have the tier B constructor, and that unlocks a whole bunch of...
Yeah, and then you could look at autopilot or something with that sort of build as well.
I would say, let me ask you this. How would you get into and out of that lineup without burning the wild card and taking like a -30, -40 to do it?
I think there's got to be a wild card involved there, yeah.
That would be a lot. So I think that's the challenge. If you're considering something crazy for Monaco, look ahead to Spain, where things are going to be a bit more normal. It's a top 8 overtake circuit the last 3 seasons. So I think it's going to be business as usual again. How do you get back into a Mercedes, Ferrari, Kimi core with good midfield drivers? That would be a bit messy.
Just looking at Audi on the budget builder as well, they need 32 points for a max price rise, which even when they're performing as well as they are, not sure that's entirely very likely. So normally the benefit of going with a great B tier option is getting 0.6 out of them. So you're not even that likely to get them with Audi, I would say. And then Hulkenberg also is going to plummet this week, regardless of what he does. So you're looking at a drop in budget, but points-wise, it could be decent.
Yeah, very interesting take there, having Audi there. They could be quite good come Spain if you trust them again. The minus 27 would drop off from Miami, and then you'd be really cooking for a price gain next week. It's a little funky.
Yeah, I'm definitely be playing it safe with the Ferrari Mercedes constructors this week.
Question in the chat: should I use my limitless chip? First off, let me ask you a question, because this is bothering me every week. Is it Maya or Mia? If you tell me in the chat, I'll start using it from now on. But should I use my limitless chip? I'm all for it. I think that the difference between the top 5 drivers and a regular team like Tom's and mine is going to be pretty significant. When you look at some of the scores for the lower midfield, we're talking 1 or no points for most of these drivers. And that's what we're going to have 2 or 3 of these guys on our team, whereas you're going to have the likes of Verstappen, Antonelli, Russell collecting some good points. So I'm all for using limitless, even price drops.
Sorry, I don't know if it's just me or if it's you, but
no,
you're cutting a little bit. But I don't know if I should sweep in there and take over the commentary here. But yeah,
I'm pro limitless. In summary.
Yes, I would agree with you, Adam, as well. If anyone in the chat who wants to know my limitless thoughts at all, if I hadn't already used it, I would be using it this weekend. It looks pretty clear. There's a nice top 5 split there. The Ferrari drivers, Mercedes, and Verstappen, McLaren improved from Friday, but still not that hot on their heels. So yeah, I feel pretty comfortable going limitless. Get the points. Budget is a bit of a mess this week anyway. So as long as you're not dropping 0.6s everywhere, then I would just get limitless in there and be done with it.
Question from Noah in the chat: if I use both of my free transfers and then want to use Final Fix, will I get a minus 10? No. It is an additional free transfer on top of what you have already. So fire away. Gesseling said, yes, my internet is not stable. We're due for some weather here in Massachusetts today, and it's already starting to come in. So I think my usually stable basement internet is letting me down. Any word on FP3 sims yet? This is later than usual.
It's getting later and later. I don't know if I wonder if on Fantasy Tools Discord, let me have a quick peek in there because they normally update stuff on there.
Rebecca, welcome. Nice to see you here. While Tom looks at that, quick run at some of the latest betting odds, because there's such a big shift between FP2 and FP3. Usually we just show you the post FP2 betting lines, but basically we've brought Antonelli all the way back into the picture with Leclerc. And I think this line's going to be pretty even by the time qualifying starts. So that's the news that's most impactful, is that Vegas believes in these FP3 results from Antonelli, purple in all 3 sectors. And then also rounding out the top 10 is Bortoleto and Hulkenberg. So a lot of faith that not only can Audi stick it into Q3, but they won't totally hemorrhage their positions off the race start. So good news there. If I use the limitless, will it cancel my transfers? Yes. So if you bring in budget builders and then use the limits, it's going to go back to your Canada lineup, not your pre-limitless lineup. Chat, let me ask you a question. And Logan, if you've got a minute, let's put up a poll on this. Who are you running as your cheapest driver? Is it Bortoleto, Stroll, or Bottas? Because this is a big question that Tom and I have. There's risks to all of them. Audi has good pace, but some reliability issues, some issues at the start, and then big reliability issues for Cadillac and Aston Martin in recent weeks. So who do we trust the most? We might have to brainstorm this together.
Yeah, I don't know. This week it's just a complete mess, basically. In my team at the moment, I've got Bottas in there, and I think it's not really worth a transfer out. So I'll just keep him in there and hope he finishes the race. Bortoleto versus Stroll has been on my mind for the last 24 hours quite a bit. Stroll looks like I was quite keen on Stroll, but then there's just been multiple issues. They've had multiple DNFs this year. They've obviously got a big issue here in Monaco, Alonso crashing out. I just don't feel confident with him finishing the race. But if he just literally just gets over the finish line, it's just the easiest 0.6. And he's such a massive differential, being like 3% owned at the moment. It is still very tempting with about 43 minutes left until the deadline to just go Stroll, pray, get your 0.6 and then run away. But the other option for me is indeed Bortoleto, who's probably the safer option and someone that I could potentially also hold through Spain because he's not quite as scary as Lance Stroll. I do think Stroll is literally just going to be one week hit and then get out, but it's really tight whether I feel dreadful if I pick him and then he has a gearbox problem and just conks out. So it's a real tough one this week, really tough one for me.
It's the worst feeling in Tier B when you make a move to a different driver, they DNF. The driver you had has a good weekend. It gets you second guessing yourself all the way.
Yeah, so it's I guess it's about who's trying to play the odds a little bit. I do think that before I read all the stuff about the stuff from the race and that whole article about the gearbox and stuff, I was thinking, Stroll is close to a lock here, but then it's just maybe more worried, and they've had some sort of random issue in FP3 today of Stroll disappearing. I'm a bit scared to go Stroll, but I might still take the plunge. I don't know.
Speaking of VIPs in the chat, Terry is here joining us from Monaco. He says it's warm, ain't no rain coming at all. Does that mean McLaren's going to start on Inters? Is that a joke too soon?
Definitely too soon.
Terry, I hope you have an absolute blast this weekend. Take lots of pictures. I'm so excited to hear about it. Chat, please don't tell Terry I'm having internet problems. He'll never let me hear the end of it.
All right.
Mike's got a spot to move Bottas to Bortoleto, and he thinks he's going to go there. I have Bortoleto already, and I think it makes sense to hold, because if I hold, then I could potentially roll a transfer into Spain, but I need Behrman's car to make it to qualifying for that to work.
What do you think, Adam, just a quick question for you, the odds?
What would
you say? What would you say the odds are of Bortoleto hitting a 0.2 rise? He needs 3 points or something, doesn't he? Is it 3 points? Yeah,
3 points. I mean, you qualify P9, that's 2 points, and then you hold the position in the Grand Prix, that's another 2 points.
Yeah, it's just about holding positions, and it's all about those starts for Bortoleto. I think if he does what he's done in practice sessions, does that in qualifying, you're guaranteed a 0.2 there if he just sits there for the rest of the race, really.
Yeah.
That might be worth it going at Bortoleto over Stroll. Stroll was just maybe too much of a risk for the extra 0.4 potential. Don't know. Yeah, could be just Bortoleto safe play potentially for me. Still nothing on Behrman that I can see. I don't know if you've seen anything, but Behrman was actually another option, and I was considering switching Albon and Bottas out when I saw the Cadillac issues. And then I was looking at Behrman as a potential option. And then literally 2 minutes after that thought went through my mind, he crashed. And I was like, oh, goodness sake. So, yeah, I would like to get some news on him.
Sri wants to know Gasly or Colapinto. I would say Colapinto, because I think you're getting equal form out of the two of them, but a really likely price gain as long as Colapinto survives the race. Yeah.
I agree there. Gasly is still a good option, I think, but price-wise, it's massively in Colapinto's favour. Colapinto's looking very likely for a 0.6 rise, whereas Gasly's going in the opposite direction. So if you've got the option, definitely go Colapinto.
Fantastic. And then one other thing I wanted to show here are the odds of classifying, where Lance right now is about 70-30. Valtteri is 65-35. So for those of you weighing in the DNF odds, this is real time coming to you from Vegas. So more likely than not that they'll finish the race, but clearly two of the worst drivers for those odds.
I've just seen the Sims. The Sims are out. Sims are out.
So while I refresh this, the poll results are in. Even split. Bortoleto and Bottas each around 45%. Lance Stroll coming up at about 10%. So the chat is split, probably between whoever we had in Canada. It seems like folks are just holding station. Hopefully they can roll a transfer. What do we have now? Yeah, look how much this gap has cleared up. This was, almost 19 points pre-FP3.
Yeah, it's almost level, basically, isn't it?
It's brought it all the way up. So,
and it's looking delightful for limitless users, this sim.
Right? It looks like you can just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah.
And then let it roll from there.
Easy pickings for limitless.
We haven't touched on this yet, but triple Mercedes, triple Ferrari, Verstappen, that has sort of been the play since yesterday for me. I wasn't terribly inspired by anything I saw from Piastri in FP3. No. Norris has been a little bit behind ever since the issue in FP2.
No, it looks pretty set. Set and forget for limitless. Get in there with the Mercedes, Ferraris, and Verstappen.
And then just absolute doldrums in the bottom here.
Yeah, Bottas down to -5. I guess they've given him a bit more of a DNF threat in the Sims, which is a bit scary as a Bottas owner.
So Ryder explained this at the beginning of the week. So you have so many drivers on a negative because it assumes very few points, and then the blended averages of the DNF odds bring your expected points across thousands of Sims to be slightly negative. If you slap on the no negative button on the Sims, you can see, assuming they finish the race, what would some of the scores look like? And it puts a little bit more color to the difference between some of these drivers.
That's quite a nice little tip. That's a nice little tip using the no negative in there.
So Bortoleto 8 points. That feels quite optimistic, but I'd take it. Behrman looks like he assumes that Haas can get that car going for qualifying. That makes me smile.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they've taken into account whether he's actually going to make qualifying or not. I would assume he was. I don't think it was I haven't seen extensive replays of the crash. I don't think it was like a massive crash by the looks of it. So I think he'll probably be all right. But you never know these things.
Hopefully just a bodywork thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah, that Bortoleto does look super appealing. I mean, Bortoleto, where's that? If I take the no negative off. Yeah, I mean, Bortoleto is still the top driver after the big constructor drivers are out the way. Still only expected 1.8, but then, with the no negative, 8.3.
I'm seeing nothing on Behrman yet. So let's pop over, review some of our member lineups. Here is Rick. We are no longer checking. And Rick starting with Kimi, Ferrari, Mercedes. Is it time to McLaren again? Oh, no. I wouldn't do that again, Rick. I like this lineup all the way through. And this is, as it stands now, what I'd probably go with myself. So I would stick right here, Rick. No notes from me. Race Maven's got her Monaco lineup in. She's got Leclerc on the left and Kimi on the right. These are different budgets, so I think this might be a Team 1 and a Team 2, but let me know if you disagree. Race Maven, double Cadillac. So this is going to be an interesting decision. If you have lower budget teams, do you try to go all in on one constructor and just hope you survive it? Or split your odds and go with like a Valtteri and Stroll, or a Valtteri and Bortoleto, something like that, to try to split up the good or bad luck?
I think whatever we go with this week, it's going to be messy for someone. It's going to be messy for someone. Something always happens in Monaco, doesn't it? With the budget situation as it is, it's not going to be pretty one way or another. We just have to hope and pray. I'm looking at my team, I'm looking at that Bortoleto switch, and it does throw me up 5.2 million, which is quite nice for jumping Antonelli on a final fix if necessary. But it does also mean I could just use my other transfer, get rid of Bottas, and bring in someone like a Behrman, which is also kind of appealing, just to get away from the Cadillac car. But I don't know, that price rise if he finishes is quite juicy. So
Tom and I were team twins for the first 4 races. We diverged in Canada, and that's where Tom just went straight to the top. Now he's in the top 200. I'm just outside the top 600. So maybe I should be listening to you more often.
Yeah. Did you use your no negative in Canada?
I didn't. So I do still have some points in tow on that.
Yeah, another one in the bank for you further down the line. But yeah, I use my no negative in Canada. So relatively good success. But yeah.
Question in the chat about, speaking of no negative, is it worth using no negative this week? I would say no, because this is a pretty low chaos track. I think a no negative would hold off one of these back marker drivers. If you want to do something crazy, where maybe you have Bottas, Bortoleto, and Stroll, that sort of thing, maybe you use no negative to try to hold off some of that. But for me, I'm still aiming for one of the last 3 sprint weekends of the year. Hopefully we have some rain, so it'll apply both on the Saturday and on the Sunday. So I'm keeping my no negative tucked in.
Yeah, if I had no negative available to me, I would still be holding on to it. To be honest, I wish I could have no negative every week. It'd make viewing a lot more pleasurable for every weekend. But the one weekend you get to use it, it's just like you can sit back and relax. But yeah, I wouldn't be using it this week. I would definitely be saving it for something a bit more tricky looking, where there's rain involved, sprints involved, that sort of thing is where I'll be holding out for.
Ooh, Geslick wants to know Ocon or Lawson. So if we come down here and look at the targets for both of these guys, Lawson needs 11 points to not lose value. Ocon needs 5. Ocon's target's a bit more likely, but still no sure thing. I like Lawson because that minus 12 is going to fall off. He'll have 23, and then whatever he gets this week, assuming it's a positive score, he'll be looking really good for Spain. Ocon also seems like the slower of the 2 Haas drivers, so in a perfect world, you can fit them both in. I don't hate either of them, but if I had to pick, probably Liam for me.
Yeah, I like Lawson. I've had him in my team for the last few race weekends, just sort of carried him through Canada. And very happy to just hold him. I know he's probably going to drop in value this week, but likely to bounce back again in Spain. So there's no sense in burning transfer on him. I think I'll just hold him. And he seems quite good form this year as well. He seems quite strong driver. So I'm quite happy just to hold on to Lawson personally.
Geslick, you've waited long enough. Let me come over to my Twitter. I'm going to show you the lineup that I have locked in with a big asterisk. It's the one I showed on the screen earlier. So keeping Bortoleto on my team from last week means, as it stands now, I'm rolling a transfer into Spain, gives me good lineup flexibility if anything goes south. But the big question mark here is Ollie Bearman. If he makes it to qualifying, I'm going to keep this team. But if we find out in the next 30 minutes that Haas weren't able to repair that car, I'm going to have to pivot ×2. Get Bearman out for, maybe I can get Bearman out for another budget gaining driver like a Stroll or a Bottas, and then still roll that transfer, and then just totally playing the luck game. Or I can bring Bortoleto down to Bottas, Bearman up to Ocon. So maybe there's a points upside, less DNF risk, but then also for budget that could be a little funky too. So fingers and toes crossed that Haas can get the job done, because I really like this team coming out of this weekend. A lot of guys could be, I could just run this entire lineup again come Spain next week. So that's V1. Let me know if you disagree. Any of you, including Tom.
Yeah, I mean, we've got very similar teams. Like, the only difference currently, like if I do go Albon to Bortoleto, the only difference between us currently would be Bearman in your team and Bottas in mine. And the thing is, I could actually afford to make that second transfer from Bottas to Bearman. And there's still no news, so still half an hour to go. So I don't know if I'm going to do that. I would really like to just hold that transfer and just luck out that Bottas finishes the race and gets a nice price rise. But, longer term, Bearman looks like a better pick. But I think I'm already kind of looking at skimping away from Lance Stroll. So I feel like taking a bit of a risk and just leaving Bottas in for me and saving that transfer is probably worth it. I think it just needs like a point. And as he's probably going to qualify at least sort of P20 backwards, then a point should be doable if he just finishes the race, please, for the love of God.
Will in the chat has a great commentary to this. The big question will end up being Stroll or Bottas. Spooky stuff. It's true. I never thought we'd see the day.
Yeah.
Is Bearman worth the -10 over Bottas? As a general rule, I never take a -10 on Tier B drivers unless there's a guaranteed gain. So the target is -20 or below for one driver and impossible for the other. Any other situation, I think you're asking for a -10, a freak DNF. Now you're down -10 plus -20, and the price gain still doesn't go your way. So I just stick with who you have.
Yeah, I don't really take -10s if I'm shift into a key constructor or a key 2 times driver. It's the only reason I would ever consider it. I think last season, I don't think I actually took a single -10 somehow.
No wonder you finished the top 100.
Yeah, I've taken one. I have taken one this season, but yeah, hoping to avoid them as much as possible. They start to bleed you over time.
Terry going absolute madman, double Audi. So hoping they both stick it into the points. He's going to inevitably absorb a 0.6 million loss from Hulkenberg, but I think if he has a good weekend, he has a DNF that will fall off his 3 race average, then all of a sudden he could gain that back come Spain next week. So Terry's going wild on his team.
Yeah, well. I think Hulkenberg will be quite popular going into Spain because he's going to drop to 3.2, and then suddenly he's got that safety net. He can't drop. Well, he can drop 0.2, but he can't go any further. I think he'll be popular, and if he just scores a couple of points, then he's almost certainly going to jump back up next week. So I think, yeah, getting early on Hulkenberg, let him bounce back again. You're not really losing budget, and you might get a few points. So I can see Terry's thinking there.
Wonderful thought from Terry. I like it. Let's see. Let's run through some questions in the chat here. With 2 drivers most certainly dropping 0.6 million, is it worthy to use the Limitless chip or do the transfers? For me, I would say go with Limitless. I think a lot of us are going to struggle this week with cost cap gains. And if you have, say, Albon and Perez is the example I've been using, and they both go down, I don't think my team's going to be much better using my transfers to move teams around. But your Limitless chip is going to have a huge scoring gap to the likes of my team or Tom's.
Yep, I'd agree with that thought process there, Adam. If even I had a couple of drivers drop in 0.6, as painful as it is, the fact that the budget building this week is so kind of poor, the options are just poor, I think I would still be looking at Limitless. If I had maybe 3 drivers that were dropping 0.6, then I'd be thinking this is a bit much. I need to try and save the budget here. But I think with 2 drivers, I would probably be pulling the trigger on it.
Ginger Fred Smith wants to know, why is Stroll a bad option? I don't think we've talked all the way through some of the last few days for Aston Martin. So there was a report on Thursday before cars were on track from Fernando Alonso that said, we have a gearbox issue, and I think it's going to hold us back from finishing races soon if we don't fix it. Because there's going to be some instability with the shifting. We could find ourselves in the wall pretty quickly. Fast forward to FP2, Alonso did crash, and it's uncertain if those 2 things were cause and effect, but it's given Tom and I some pause. And then Lance Stroll, they didn't say why he boxed in FP3, but they definitely reported an issue. And so when he came back out, he was running so far behind everyone, 3 seconds adrift of the leaders. If you extrapolate that over 78 laps, that's a humongous gap. And at a certain point, they might just say, hey, Lance, we're getting laps so many times over. Why are we still out there? So the last 24 hours has soured me on Lance, despite how optimistic I was yesterday on him.
Yeah, I'm the same. If they didn't have these gearbox issues, and it was just a case of him just finishing the race, and like their reliability has clearly improved from the first couple of races, I would probably just be going for Stroll, just because it looks like the easiest 0.6 you're ever going to get. But there's such a big risk this week with Stroll with just not finishing the race, whether that's through crashing out because of this gearbox issue like Alonso yesterday, or because, like you say, maybe the team just say like just bring it to the pits, we've had enough, we don't want to destroy the car or something. Yeah, I could just see it happening on the Sunday, where he just discreetly pulls into the pits and he's in there for like a minute or 2 before the commentators even realize that he's not in the race anymore.
He just disappears.
Yeah. So yeah, I have got him on my team 3 because I'm a bit more risk taking on my team 3. But I think I am going for the Bortoletto route this week on my team 1.
A popular question I'm seeing, Tom, is if you're running Limitless, do you put the 2X on Kimi or Charles? Because unlike the rest of us that have the final fix pivot, Limitless teams have to set it and hope they've made the right choice. To me, I think it depends on where you are and what Limitless is going to do for you. If you are behind in your leagues and you need to make a bigger splash, I think Leclerc can get you that bigger delta because so many teams are starting the week with Kimi. But if you're in a good spot and Limitless is going to take you just even further up the grid in your mini leagues, I would go with the safer bet, which is Kimi at the moment.
Yeah, I've got Limitless on my team 2 active, and I've got the 2 times on Leclerc at the moment. I think it's quite a nice differential. I think quite a lot of people who would have been bringing in Leclerc would be, like myself and my team one, will just stick with Kimi. So it's more of a differential. The brake issue he's been complaining about and he's skidding around at the end of FP3 is a slight concern. But I do think the pace is still there. The driver of the day capability is still there. If he is out in front, fastest lap is potential there as well. I don't know. I think it's quite a nice differential just to have him on there. But yeah, I don't know. It's very tight. But like I say, for me on my team too, I am limitless. I am going Leclerc. I just think there's some upside to be had there. And I think if you go Kimi, I don't think you're missing out on much. But I also don't think the ceiling is necessarily quite as high as Leclerc.
It's a good point too. If you have multiple teams, splitting your strategy where one has Kimi and one has Leclerc, sort of make sure you have coverage of the right answer either way too. Who would you take from RB, Lawson, or Lindblad? But Lindblad, I'd have to take a -10. Well, that settles it for me. I'd go Lawson, the better driver that you'd want to have for Spain, because I think he's going to be a cost cap gain candidate. And -10 for Tier B drivers is a no-go for me. Matthew wants to know, do I take out both Albon and Perez, or just one, and roll a transfer? And who would you bring in with Colapinto and Bortoleto already on the team? Oh, interesting.
Well, that looks destined for a Lance Stroll transfer, that team.
Yeah. Yeah, that's Lance Stroll territory firmly.
sorry, but that's a Lance Stroll territory.
I would say at least, yeah, I would say I would just move them both out to try to get as safe as you can. If you can move Albon to a Behrman, assuming, knock on wood, like me, that they can roll him out for qualifying, and then Perez to Stroll. That's going to get you the safest cost cap gain situation that I can think of.
Yeah. I can't see much else. I mean, like I said, the options are so slim as it is. So, yeah. If I had more problems in my team, I think I would be looking at Lance Stroll. I think that Lance Stroll would be in my team because I've been in an unfortunate position coming out of Canada and I only really have to get rid of Albon. I don't have to necessarily go Stroll, which is why I've got the luxury of the Audi and Bortoleto. But if you've got a couple of assets that you have to chop, then maybe Stroll is worth the risk and just pray he finishes the race for that nice 0.6 jump.
I mean, if it works, he's on back-to-back double-digit scores. You might almost be able to keep him for Spain. If we have this pattern of Lance Stroll reliability, probably have another negative target.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's going to be getting double digits in Monaco. I think if anything, it's going to be like 0 or 1 or -1, and then you're looking at the 11 points from Canada plus like a 0 or something, and then it's suddenly a bit up in the air whether he's actually going to get any sort of further rises. But as a 1 week thing, Stroll is potentially a necessary evil for some teams this week, so it could be the right move, even though it feels wrong.
Lots of good questions in the chat here. So, for using Limitless, is Lewis a shout for the 2X over Leclerc and Antonelli?
For me personally, no. I think Leclerc's just that fraction better. I think in FP3 he was a fraction ahead as well of Lewis. I think it's, if you just want to take a bit of a gamble and hope that Lewis performs in Q3, then why not? It would be a humongous differential if Lewis got pole, finish first. Then you're looking at drive of the day for Lewis, his first ever race win for Ferrari. It could be an enormous play going Lewis 2 times. But I think the odds of it are just a little bit too low of him beating Leclerc and Antonelli for me, that I probably wouldn't go it. Maybe on like a team 2 or 3 if you really want to go down that way. But yeah, that's my thoughts. I don't know what you think, Adam.
I agree. And there are more questions in the chat about Hamilton or Leclerc as the 2X. I would say Leclerc is probably going to be the safer bet here. Certainly Lewis can shock us, and if he does, the opportunity would be huge. But when in doubt, I just go back to the betting lines. Charles and Kimi are pretty much inseparable, whereas Lewis, there's just enough of a gap where he would need to put on an almighty Q3 lap to sneak it past them. Is Antonelli to Leclerc worth it for a -20? Not for me.
No, not for me either.
Race Maven with the super chat. Thank you so much, Race Maven. Heading out early. Good luck to you too. Enjoy the weather today.
Right, I am going to make a transfer, I think.
Ooh, Tom, let me know when if you post your team, let me know. I'll bring it up on screen here for everyone to look at.
Sure thing.
Veggie Ravioli, should I still go limitless if I've got Lawson and Perez dragging the team down? Yeah, I would. I think Lawson's going to be quite good coming out of this week, so I don't mind him. Perez is the Cadillac that's in form. I don't mind it. I don't mind Limitless. I think this is the last good week for Limitless until Silverstone, which would be a good race for it, but you have to hope that it's dry. Otherwise, you have some of the shenanigans we had in Canada where will we start on inters as a differential strategy and it totally tanks McLaren. So I would take the bird in hand with starting Limitless this week. Still no news on Merriman, Rick. Let's see. I'll pull up another screen and see if there's anything coming on the Twitter sphere about it, but can we assume no news is good news? I hope so. I think it's going to literally be in these last 5 minutes here. If everybody's lining up to start qualifying and Behrman, they're furiously working on Behrman's car. That's the scramble.
Yeah, that's when we'll hear. If it was one of the Ferraris or Mercedes, they'd be all over Twitter at the moment. But because it's just a Haas, it's like, well, no one's going to tell you until 5-2.
Exactly. Now, the good news is, remember, it's net transfers that determine if we're taking penalties or using our free transfers. So if you've made a move early, it includes Behrman, but then at the last minute, we have to swap them out. It'll be net transfers from what you did in Canada. Monterey, Limitless is the best option, in our humble opinion. Colapinto or Hadjar? I think Colapinto's the better package of points and cost cap upside, but Hadjar will probably score more points this week. And obviously the budget difference between Hadjar and Colapinto. What is that price here? 12.1 versus Colapinto at 8.8. That's over 3 million that you could splash around to upgrade other parts of your team's tree. So I'd stick with Colapinto.
I've posted my team on Twitter. I'm not like 100% locked into this because there's still toying with the idea of getting rid of Bottas, but I think I am probably just going to stick with this. I've made the transfer Albon to Bortoletto, so there we go. Rolling the other transfer.
The rain is coming down here in Massachusetts, so we're just going to try to squeak it to the finish line here. There it is.
That's not an omen. An omen for my team.
Talk us through this team.
So like I said, I had Albon in place of Bortoletto coming out of Canada. I'm quite happy to roll a transfer and have 3 going into Spain. So if it does become a mess in terms of budget, I'll have 3 transfers to sort it out. I'm not anticipating having to move any of the big hitters like Antonelli, Mercedes, or Ferrari out for Spain. There's always the potential that maybe Ferrari aren't a strong McLaren are back in the picture come Spain. So maybe I'm looking at Ferrari constructor change next week. So having that 3rd transfer would be quite nice. And then, the other transfers are just sitting around for the budget reparations after Monaco, really. But Colapinto looks set for rise. Lawson, long-term hold. Bortoletto is doing really well. Looks like a Q3 driver today. Bottas just praying, as the post says, praying he doesn't catch fire, or at least his brakes don't catch fire. Also, don't want Bottas to catch fire, but mainly his brakes. And I'd be just want him to finish the race and get me that rise. So that's the team.
Logan, let's fire up a poll in the chat because every time I disagree with Tom on my last driver, it blows up spectacularly in my face. So the question is, should I roll with Behrman for the last 15 minutes and hope on this no news that we have that he rolls up for qualifying and survives the race? Or should I dabble with 2 of the 3 bottom price drivers in the game and hope for a 0.6 million miracle on both of them?
Yeah, from my point of view, it depends really what you're after here. Do you want that kind of long-term stability with Behrman? So I think he is quite a good pick for the next couple of races. But then Bottas, like I said, as long as he finishes the race, it's quite an easy 0.6 or at least a 0.2 jump. Behrman needs 0 for a 0.2 drop, so you're probably looking at least a 0.4 million difference. And if Bottas hits the maximum, that's quite a big difference. You're looking at 0.8 million difference. but then also having that third transfer could be beneficial to you because this would be your second transfer. Is that right?
So on my team, where he would go, so he'd go right here in place of Behrman. I already had Bortoletto, so I basically I would carry the third transfer.
Oh, so you haven't actually made a transfer at all, is it? Is that
right? So I've locked in this one transfer on Behrman, but because it's net transfers, I would just.
Oh, I see. It was Albon. Yeah, I'm confused with the new rule this season. Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah.
It's really saving me because last year I would just be screwed in this spot.
Yeah.
Quite often I was.
Yeah, you'd just be waiting. But yeah, okay. In that case, the fact that you're still able to hold that second transfer, it really does kind of boil down to: do you want to risk the Bottas DNF for that budget game? Because if Bottas finishes the race, as long as he doesn't catch fire, he's probably going to finish the race. He's probably going to be too slow to get into any wheel-to-wheel battles with anyone, and he'll get that price rise. So, but then he's probably going to be possibly a transfer out in Spain. So, I don't know. Behrman's a bit more long-term. Bottas is, do you want the budget here and now?
Let's fly through some more questions in the chat. There were some questions about the new rule. So in this lineup, I had Alex Albon previously. I made one transfer for Ollie Behrman. Now, if I transfer Behrman out for Bottas last year and in previous years, that would have been two transfers. Albon to Behrman, Behrman to Bottas. This season, it's net transfers from your previous race. So Albon out and someone in, whether it's Behrman or Bottas, that would only count one transfer. So the net transfers from the previous race.
Yeah, it's a nice little change in ruling.
Rick wants to know, is there an issue with Albon this weekend besides budget game? Williams seemed pretty anonymous this weekend. Carlos signs up in P12. Albon, I think he was struggling with some issues throughout Q3, but not a very inspiring finish for him in Q3. And then let's see if we come over to the points here. 4 points, assuming the likelihood of DNF is turned off. I think he's fine. If you're wondering, Rick, do you conserve a transfer games? Because like Tom was mentioning a moment ago, going from an Albon to a Stroll, Bortoletto, or Bottas could be a 1.2 million swing. Question in the chat about, is Limitless not the play anymore? Oh, I totally think it is. And it would just be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just a menu right off the top here. Triple Ferrari, triple Mercedes, and Max. Simon wants to know, do you prefer Stroll, Behrman, Lawson, or Ocon? Ooh, what order would I do that in? Lawson, Ocon, Behrman, Stroll, assuming Behrman lines up for qualifying.
That sounds pretty fair to me. I do think Lawson is going to probably drop. I can't see him getting to 11 points just for the minimum rise, but with that 23 pointer sat from Canada, with the negative 12 dropping off, he looks pretty decent for going into Spain. So I do like Lawson quite a bit.
Guess wants to know who was right last time when Tom and I disagreed. Well, I'll give you a hint. Tom's in the top 200 in the global league. I'll let you decide who was right.
I think you're still. Are you still like top 1,000-ish or something?
Yeah. I'm just outside the top 600. So
yeah,
looking quite good.
See, still doing well. Yeah. These decisions they're on a knife edge. These decisions, really, aren't they?
We asked the chat, should I line my team up with Tom? And it is a 50-50 split. Behrman versus Slides of Valtteri. So. Oh my goodness. I'm rapidly reloading Twitter just to see if anybody has any glimpses of the garage.
I don't have the TV on, so I don't know if the TV presenters have commented on it at all, but
Albon and Perez to who? Bortoletto and Bottas is probably closer to where Tom's team is. Bortoletto and Behrman's where my team is. I think those prices will about work for you. Who gets 2x on Limitless? We're split on this. I think there's merits to Kimi and Leclerc, but if you've held on to Limitless to this point, Leclerc has the bigger boom potential. Mike is watching the broadcast and he says they have said nothing about Behrman.
That's probably a good thing. I feel like at this point, with 10 minutes to go, they probably would have said, "Oh, Haas are in a bit of a hurry here, trying to get Behrman's car sorted," or they'll have the shutters up to block out the cameras. Something will be happening, I would assume. So it's probably going to be okay, but you never know.
All the folks that are posting their lineups all have Bottas in it, and nobody has Behrman. I feel like I'm missing out on.
I've got some Behrman news. So this guy I follow on Twitter is quite reliable guy. He says Ollie Behrman's car is ready for the start of Q1.
Now what?
He is good to go according to this random person I follow on Twitter. But he is someone that's quite reliable, I find. So
Behrman or Ocon, I'd say it's a coin flip at this point. Behrman, the Haas in form previously. Did Haas rebuild his car to the point where he can dial it straight in?
I think if it's Behrman or Ocon, it's definitely Behrman for me. The price difference, Behrman's cheaper. He's got 10 points from Canada. Ocon's on 8. So going into Spain, it'll be easier for Behrman to gain price as well. I think it's... The
Aussie TV broadcast says he is ready. Oh my goodness, what time is it in Australia right now that you're watching us? Thank you for watching.
Yeah.
It's the middle of the night for you.
It's got to be, isn't it? Yeah.
Would you 2x Hamilton for Limitless? I think we prefer Leclerc and Antonelli over Hamilton. But if you have a team 3 that you just want to go wild punt on, Hamilton's not a bad third option there. Yeah, Rick, you're right. Ocon does typically do well at Monaco. He has the podium previously in 2023. He's got 4 top 10 appearances. He just seems like he's been a bit slower than his teammate all season. All these rumors of could Haas move on from a mid-season? Could they bring in Rafa Kamara next season? So he's got to really step it up if he wants to stick around.
I think Behrman, this is probably not the right way to think about things, but Behrman's also had a DNF this season in Japan. So he's not due a DNF if you want to think that way. Whereas Ocon hasn't DNF'd yet. So it's like, I don't know, just a bit more food for thought. I know it's not like, previous things like that are not actually going to affect DNF outcome, but just in the realms of probability and stuff, eventually Ocon's going to get his first DNF.
Yeah, law of averages.
Get it, but
when you're Duke and get out in the midfield, inevitably something's going to afflict you. And we saw that with Albon last weekend. It wasn't even his fault. Piastri just went straight into him. So sometimes you could be driving well, but stuff happens.
Yeah, that was frustrating. Brought in Albon, and then Piastri just torpedoes him. I was like, what are you doing? Like, thank God I had no negative on, but what are you doing, Piastri?
In Tom's teams, would you go for Ocon instead of Lawson for a -10? Who I wouldn't.
What was that question?
Ocon to Lawson. Ocon over Lawson for a -10.
No. Like I say, my kind of rule of thumb, although it's flexible, is I wouldn't take -10s unless it's for a key constructor that I need to get in. Like it was last week, I had to get Mercedes in for Canada, so I took the -10. Or if you are scrambling around for the best 2 times in combination with trying to sort out your budget drivers, then I would take -10 for budget saving potential. But yeah, otherwise -10s are just like a no-go for me.
Yeah, try to avoid them as much as you can. And in Tom, in my case, we're trying to carry a third transfer as long as we can so that we can have that flexibility without taking these penalties. Because like you said earlier, it definitely adds up.
5 minutes to go.
Oh my goodness. And I still don't know if I bring Bottas in. Behrman's coming out, but will he do anything? All Valtteri needs to do is survive a DNF for 0.6 million.
Yeah, like I say, Behrman is like longer term. I think you can happily hold Behrman into Spain and beyond. Bottas would be like a bit more of a here and now. Potentially could hold him in Spain as long as he doesn't DNF this week. But obviously the price gain potential is just much stronger with Bottas this week. So it's all about how much do you want that budget, Adam?
Oh, the gods just blinked my internet as a reminder that I need to act quickly. Focus, Adam, focus. Antonelli to Charles for a -10. I wouldn't take a penalty to go from one to the other. I would Start with one, final fix into the other if you need to, and save the -10. Best chip for Monaco, if you have it, is Limitless. Final fix will be helpful if you get the wrong 2x boost driver. Stroll or no Stroll? Depends on your options. I think we're all pretty much aligned on Bottas over Stroll. Ocon over Albon? Yes. What happened with Stroll and Bottas? Just a lot of Aston Martin concern with the gearbox. Some reports from Alonso that it wouldn't last the weekend, and then he put it in the wall in FP2, and we think it could have been a downshifting issue that sent him off.
And it looks like Ewan has just posted his lineup on Twitter. He's gone for Leclerc 2 times. I'm assuming that's a transfer from Antonelli, but yeah.
If it hits, he saves the final fix, and then and then he's got that rolling for any calamities the rest of the year. All right, chat, here we are. We're back with Behrman. 50-50
decision time, Adam. It's decision time.
Listen, it's not every day that we get Tom on the show. I can't stray from the almighty Tom. I'm doing it. Now, here's the question. Is my internet going to blink out before this saves? Here we go. Oh, it's in.
That looks pretty locked in to me. But you could always change it back in the next minute and a half.
I do. I can absolutely change it out. Let's see how much chaos we can sow here. Let's see. -10 for Perez to Ocon or Behrman. No, keep Perez. 2x final decision, y'all. Charles or Kimi? With Charles' brake issues, I don't think the brake issues are that bad.
No, I think it's just standard driver complaining, but everything's fine.
Limitless, it looks like the group has moved toward Charles. I would say entering the week, stick with whoever you have as the 2x. Use the final fix to get into whoever's right if you were wrong. Lawson or Behrman? Lawson. When to use today, besides today, when to use the final fix, it's whenever your 2x driver is really out of position on a low overtake circuit. Saw it with Piastri and Baku last year, low overtake circuit, qualified P7. We said, okay, let's get the pole sitter Verstappen, and it was a perfect scenario because Max went on to win. Piastri put it into the wall. So to me, that's the best use. I'm not a big fan of budget drivers that qualify out of position because they could just cough it all back up. Come for Tom, stay for the chaos. That's us. Each and every
I'm surprisingly calm today. I feel like I'm quite content with my transfer. Normally, when I used to do lots of streaming, I was stressing out, sweating for the final hour. But no, pretty calm. So yeah, all good here.
Stroll or Lawson? Lawson. Bortoleto or Behrman? Bortoleto. Bottas or Behrman? Ooh, Tom, Bottas or Behrman? That means the choice I just made.
That's what you've just decided, yeah. So that answers that one. And I'm sticking with Bottas, even though I've got the opportunity to bring in Behrman. I think it's very tight. But I personally just want that budget. I want that budget. I'm already avoiding Stroll, who's got great budget potential. So I'm going to take a little bit of a gamble with Bottas. I want the budget.
Alpha Pro Final Fix doesn't use a transfer. Good question in the chat here. If it's 1-2 Leclerc Antonelli, is that enough for the final fix? And for me, no. I think I need to see Antonelli P3 or P4 before I start thinking about it. But P1 to P2, assuming one gets fastest lap, one gets driver of the day, yeah, Leclerc's going to score more points, but I think you can get final fix to generate more in another scenario.
Yep, I agree there. I think that's 3 o'clock just hit by the looks of it. So I think that's probably deadline just about up.
Awesome. Well, good luck, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. Tom, thanks so much for making your return right here on the Fantasy Formula. It was such a pleasure to have you.
Yeah, great. Thank you very much for having me. It's been very enjoyable. Thanks for you. And yeah, I'll catch you guys soon.
Thanks so much for watching, everybody. We're going to turn it right back around for Spain next week with a lot more Fantasy Formula. So until then, we'll see you.